Lawyer John Khosravi. It is September 20th, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, our new time for those just tuning in, that we do our live educational program, taking your questions about U.S. immigration law, trying our best to give you the details and background behind it, so you have a better idea what's going on with your immigration case or your prospective future immigration case. There's a lot going on, so we're happy to come here every week to help you out with that. Again, Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Pacific time, live on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We're all over the place so you catch us. So we're getting dozens of questions throughout the show. Hopefully we'll get to most of them. Just to let you know, we do provide free video consultations to watchers of the live show. It's a raffle. All you got to do is like and subscribe and write consultation in the comment section. My wonderful assistant, Katrina, will name off a person every 10 minutes for me to name here, and I'll give you instructions on what to do once you're chosen and you win the free video consultation. So stay tuned for that if you're watching a live show. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we can talk in private to get to know each other better and to go, talk in more depth about your case, something you can't do here in a public forum. Having said that, I also want to remind everybody that we have a guide called the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. This guide breaks down the A to Z of the marriage case and fiance case. It's the best thing out there, and it's free, 40 plus pages. It helps a lot. So I really suggest, if you're interested in this kind of case, or a family case in general, if you're applying for your parents or brothers and sisters and stuff, it provides a lot of information about that as well, because there's a lot of overlap in these kinds of cases. Just download it. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. The website is marriageimmigrationlaw.com, and it'll give you instructions on how to download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. So you help you with that. So having said that, let's get the show started. All right, everybody, thank you for joining us. We have questions coming in. On our first one, from Saima Rabani. Hello, John. My husband and I, a green card holder, got married on March 22nd. My husband's F1 OPT expired on May 22nd, and we filed for a green card in June 22nd. Can he work full-time when he gets his EAD? And then the follow-up, she asked, he got his biometrics done in July. What are the wait times for EAD approval letters, and finally interview date looking like? Okay, so a lot of questions there. Let's bring the first question up, so I make sure I cover everything. In this case, you married a green card holder. It's called the F2A preference category case. So you filed the OPT expired on May 22nd. So you have to file that green card adjustment case while he still has status. When you're on an F1, after your status expires, you have a 60-day grace period during which you can file for adjustment of status. So if you file a case in May 22nd, June, July, you're within that 60-day period. So that's positive. You did properly file it within the right period of time that you could. If you waited a month longer, it would have been a problem. However, if you were a citizen, this stuff wouldn't matter. So, okay, that's fine. And you ask, and you file when is he going to get his EAD? Essentially, when EAD is called an employment authorization document, EAD for short. Everyone just calls it a work permit. When do you get that? Well, there's no fixed time for this kind of stuff. Last November 2021, USCIS, after getting a lot of complaints and lawsuits, said that they'll be issuing green cards for this category of cases called the C9 adjustment status, C9 category work permit, within a month or two. And they were doing that. We were getting work permits approved in 5 or 6 weeks. It was incredible. But now, fast forward to summer, that this is not happening. It's taking, once again, 5, 6, 7 months for work permits to be approved. You might be lucky, you might get yours sooner, but that's the average time we're seeing on these kind of cases. Now, one aspect of these green card cases, there's a fingerprinting appointment. And one question we get all the time is, after I do my fingerprints, how long after that is the work permit issued, and how long after that is the green card issued? There's no correlation between the biometrics and how soon or how late something is going to be approved. And so it's just a question that comes up all the time. And it's just important to know that there's not related. They have to do the biometrics. It's an important part, but it doesn't necessarily mean it has any correlation on how soon or late the case is going to happen. And another question you had was, when is the interview happening? That all depends on your local field office who's going to review your case. First of all, you might have issues with your case. You might not have done something properly, so you might get a request for evidence and RFE. Secondly, going back to what I first said, it depends on how busy your local field office is. For example, in Los Angeles, where I file a lot of cases, last year this time, we were getting cases done in 3 or 4 months. Right now, it's taking 7, 8 plus months, and we still haven't had an interview. So it's different all the time. It depends on the officer. It depends on your case. There's so many variables that there's no answer as to how long your case will take. It'll probably be a year or maybe less, but it could be a year in 3 or 4 months. That's the average. If you go to USCIS.gov, they have average processing times that are completely unreliable, so I don't even recommend looking at that. But timelines are all over the place. Probably it's going to take between 9 months to a year and a half. That's a wild average. But we had a viewer who had their adjustment of status interview, had their green card interview based on marriage 1 year ago, and they still have not had a decision on their case. And the case looked like it was a clean case. So timelines are all over the place. That's why I can't really answer that. But thank you for your question, Sama. Good luck on your case. All right, really quick. Okay, next question. Edwin asks, hello, sir. My N400 was returned. That's the citizen application. Was returned. I applied too early. Now I have the time. Can I resend using same? I think we need same form. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know. This is too case specific. I don't know what you sent exactly to say, yeah, to give you that guidance. Printing out a new form or printing out something different, it's not going to cost you too much. Why not print out a new clean case, review everything, any updates are happening since the last time you did it, and just do a fresh copy? Why not do that? I mean, how difficult would that be? I would just do that. But, you know, good luck on your N400 case. Manny asks, what if I'm coming to the USA immigrant visa and I told the CV officer my brother's address for green card delivery just for safe side? What is that a problem? So you did an interview at the U.S. Embassy for green card, and you told them and then you got approved, and you came, and at the airport you told them a different address where you want your green card to be sent. It is what it is. A lot of times these you want to have one consistent address because we don't know where it's going to go, but hopefully it goes. I mean, if it's safe or not, it depends on the post office if they mess things up or not. But I don't really have much to comment on that. Is if you just want to have it consistent at the beginning, but if you know the addresses where they're going at, they're going to a safe place, then, you know, God bless, and that's probably going to happen. Thank you for your question. The Great Invisible asks, hi, John. I got my EB2 green card in the U.S. Can I just approach the U.S. Embassy in my home country for my wife and children to follow the joint without IA-24? Someone had posted that they did that and it was successful, so give it a shot. Maybe call USCIS to do it automatically. But in practice, the technical thing is you have to file form IA-24 to request follow the joint for your family. Appropriate. The best thing would have been done if you submitted that with your I-485, but not having done that, yeah, you give it a shot. The thing is, they probably will say no, but you know, give it a shot. You have nothing to lose. Sagor Rasidig asks, sir, F4 visa is currently working at NBC. F4 visa is a category for brothers and sisters of U.S. citizens, and the timeline for that is different depending on what country you're from and when you started the initial case with the I-130 petition. So your question, it only asks, it's just so broad it can't be answered. If you want to see the timelines, go to Google, type in Visa Bulletin, and the Department of State website is going to come that lists the timelines of who's getting green cards now and then. There's a chart there. Look at the first chart, look at the F4 category, see what country you're in, and it'll say which cases right now are getting green cards approved. And look at the date there. That date is based on when the I-130 petition, the original family petition, was submitted. So look for yourself, you know, and see what's going on and take from there. Let me go to Instagram really quick and answer some questions here. We got a couple people popped up. Let's see. Ken Tagon says, as you mentioned, went to the Social Security office directly as a new citizen, first-time citizen, born abroad, and got approved super easy. Wonderful. Glad I could help. Ken Tagon, glad I could help. God bless, and congratulations on that. And Galarami asks, diversity visa vendor came in USA without a visa, but was inspected at the border, currently asylum seeker, and can't get passport because of asylum situation. I'm not sure the question is, but you can't adjust status if you have not maintained status for that kind of case. Is adjustment of status and misrepresentation if one came to U.S. on a tourist visa, but the intent was to do clinical rotations? How are you going to do clinical rotations, a work thing, on a tourist visa? So put aside misrepresentation. What about work? So this is 2 case specific. Probably issues. Yeah, there's going to be issues for sure with the way you're framing this. So that's all I can say about that. Dream White Girl says, what is a K3 visa? Please explain. And marriage visa is good for K3. Really quick, let me change some stuff up here so we don't get these clicking sounds popping up. Pause notifications. Okay. So the K3 visa is a category they made to speed up the process for marriage green cards. It's almost never approved inevitably. So, you know, the only worth in it is sometimes it does speed up the basic case to a certain extent, but I have a lot of videos on this. We have a lot of questions. Dream Girl, go to youtube.com and look up JQK Law or Immigration Talker channel. I have tons of videos about the K3 in detail that you can watch that answers your question right there. I think that'll be very helpful. So let's jump on zero stuff, and we have time. I may go back and talk about the K3. JOT asks, my U.S. visa interview for spouse visa was April 2002, and they gave me a 221G, and it's been September, 5 months, no reply. I already sent back 221G in April. I'm in Canada, Montreal consulate, or embassy. So what happens is this person had the green card interview at a U.S. embassy, and afterwards they said your case is in administrative processing, which means they either need more documents or need to do more review on your case, and you get stuck, and that's the thing. So, and these cases get stuck for a long time. So if you properly responded to them and it's still pending, you could try filing a lawsuit against the government saying there's unreasonable delay, and many times that'll work. But at the end of the day, they have to go through administrative processing to finish up. So that's just something to look at. Now, I do want to mention our winner of our free video consultation. We have 2 more left. Every 10 minutes, we're going to name some off. But here are the person, Edwin Murillo, or Murillo. Thank you so much for asking. You know, let's just have a private video consultation and talk about what happened. All you got to do is take a screenshot of where you're watching this so I can see your username is you. Email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com. That's info@jqqlaw.com. And we'll schedule a private video consultation to talk about your case. For those just tuning in and watching a live show, you can get a free video consultation. All you got to do is, like and subscribe and write consultation in the comment section. And my wonderful assistant, Katrina, will name off a person 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and hopefully we get a chance to talk in private. Also, for those who are interested in marriage and fiance cases, you got to download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. The website is www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com, and get all you need to know about the process for learning about marriage, immigration, fiance cases before we talk with an immigration lawyer. Let's get back to questions. Sue asks, hi, John. The waiver for I-601 for someone who went to mandatory military IRGC in Iran in marriage-based cases works or not? No. What happened is the U.S. government designated a part of the Iranian military called the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist organization. There's no waiver for this per se. I mean, the Department of State or the head of the Department of State could issue a waiver or Attorney General on them, but they're not going to do that. The 6-1 waiver does not apply for this kind of case for terrorism grounds. So unfortunately, that's not going to work. So that's about it. Unfortunately, Sue, I'm sorry, but it just doesn't work. Waivers don't work. I mean, recently someone had posted an immigration lawyer group or somewhere, someone asked about this, like it happened. And I was reading the statute, it's INA 212A2 or something like that. I can't remember, for terrorism grounds. And it sounded like you could get some sort of a waiver or forgiveness, but I think the government has to, on its own, make a decision on a per case basis, which is not going to happen most likely. So this situation with the IRGC is unfortunately, just to stop. There's nothing you can do about it until they come to some sort of political resolution between the U.S. and Iran. Unfortunately, spouses, parents, family members, employees, whoever it is, students who are military, former military members, even conscription mandatory military in the IRGC are blocked from coming because of a terrorism block. Sheila asks, no approval yet. I-130 Texas Service Center. Why so long? How long more wait? Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have an answer to that. So however long it takes for them. B. Blake asks, I filed for my parents last April I-130 and forgot the I-485. I filed the I-485 February this year, and they got biometrics. I don't think it has been reviewed since December. Yeah, you got to wait for things to move forward. That's about it. I think you have a follow-up question later on. You asked if I filed for, okay, that's it. Okay, sorry. Muhammad asks, I just completed my 3-year LPR through marriage. My wife will be a 2-year, 10-month citizen next month. Can I apply for citizen now? No, you got to wait for your wife to be 3-year citizen and living with your wife who's a citizen for 3 years. So you got to wait for your wife to be a full 3-year citizens before you can apply for your case. Simon asks, we filed for green card June 22nd. Can he work full-time when he gets his EAD? Thank you. So once you get a work permit based on C9 green card category, yes, you work full-time openly. Yeah, that's no problem. Khadija asks, asylum removal status and still no interview date yet. Is there anything I can do? If you're really anxious, you can file a lawsuit against the government. If you're in removal proceedings, not really, but if you're affirmative asylum, which I don't think you are, maybe file a lawsuit. But in court, unfortunately, they're delayed. You could kind of have it where another person has court date earlier than you. You could switch places with them sometimes. Your attorney could try to find somebody. It's kind of complicated, but that might be something to do. But overall, not much you can do. I do want to switch over to Instagram to ask some questions here. Nicolas, please explain diversity visa winner who has asylum pending in the court. Unfortunately, there's nothing much to explain. You can't do adjustment of status, and you have to leave the United States to do that. And you may be subject to a 3 or 10 year ban if you do that. So unfortunately, if you win the diversity visa in the situation, I don't know. You may have an exception, but most of the time you can't do anything about it unless there's some sort of exception that's unique. Sonny asks, could you talk about the K-1 visa? How long does it take? It depends on what country you're from, but it's going to take over a year and a half right now, probably to 2 years on a good side, to potentially much longer depending on what country you're from and what issue your case has. Wait, what asks, does my EAD C9 become invalid when I file for my divorce? My marriage didn't work out. I filed for divorce on 9/12. My work permit arrived on 9/13. I haven't been interviewed yet. Technically, I don't have an exact answer to that, but I assume that until there's a determination of your case being denied, you could use it probably because you might get back together with your wife. You're not fully divorced. You file for divorce. So you're still married. Maybe things will change. You get back together, and the case keeps going. So I would imagine until there's a determination that your case is denied, you could use a work permit. But to be honest, I don't deal with this situation often, so I can't cite to regulations. That's just an assumption, so I can't tell you 100% on that. Saidullah asks, hi, John. In reference to my previous question, clinical rotation is only observing patients in a non-paid rotation. I don't know. I have to need Saidullah. I have to see more information about your case. I can't answer that here. Because I have to see exactly, even if you're not getting paid, it could be unauthorized employment. So I have to get more information about it. If you're just coming here and looking at hospitals and what people are doing, that's one thing. If it's considered schooling, you should have maybe got an F1 student visa. So I got to see what clinical rotation means exactly in the context that you're doing it in. Without that, I don't want to give vague and general guidance on something like that. All right, let's go back to questions on other platforms. Next question is Manny Vlogs, how to track my green card delivery, any website? Well, they say that when they're delivering the green card, they issue a USCIS tracking number. I think you have to call it in to ask for what it is. They may or may not have it there, but that's one thing to do, calling it in and asking for that. So that's the way to go. Now we have a question on Instagram. Sony asks, how long is a K-1 visa for Iranian? Probably 3 years plus. I've had couples break up. We got to tell them that. So, a K-1 visa is just taking longer. First of all, you have to file a form I-129F to show the relationship is real. These are going 6 to 8 months, like a year or two ago. I have cases right now, I-129Fs are taking 13 months, still no approval. Once they approve the basic relationship, then you got to wait for an interview. If you're in New Zealand, you get an interview in 2 or 3 months. If you're Iranian, these interviews are taking over a year and a half to get. So all of a sudden, you got 1 year, some months to prove the relationship is real, a year and a half to get an interview. That's 2.5 years right there. And then you do your interview. For half of Iranian cases, after the interview, they don't approve it. They put your case in administrative processing, which means usually at least another 6 months right there for them to be approved. If not approved after 6 months, I usually recommend my clients file a lawsuit against the government for the delays. That lawsuit has to go through. All of a sudden, you're waiting 3 years, and the person still hasn't got the visa yet, but maybe they have it. So for Iranian cases, unfortunately, that's the long and short of it. It takes a long time. You might get lucky where everything happens faster. It's not unheard of. But an average case, most of my cases, it's been 3 years pending. The couple that are fiancés still have not connected. It's a horrible situation. As I said, I've had clients break up and decide not to do it. Even during the first consultation, I tell them, yeah, it's going to be years. And they're like, well, I don't want to wait years. So, bye. I loved you, but not that much. Unfortunately, sorry to laugh, but that's the situation, the honest situation, what's going on, especially for K-1s for Iranians right now. I do want to announce our winner, Wait Uzi. Wait, what Uzi? You're a winner of a raffle. Take a screenshot of where you're watching this and email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com. That's info@jqqlaw.com. And we'll schedule a free video consultation, 15 minutes. For those just tuning in and watching a live show, we give away free video consultation as a raffle. We give away 2. We got 1 more coming up in 10 minutes. All you got to do is like and subscribe and write consultation. And my wonderful assistant, Katrina, will name off a person to me behind the scenes in 10 minutes or so. And I'll name them off so that you can have a free video consultation to talk about your case in private. If you haven't already, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Even if you're not doing a marriage or fiancé case, download it. Check out what I have there. It's so much information. It's going to be helpful for you and your friends. So I thought, just check it out, download it, and see what you think. Alisson, one of our regulars. Hi, John. How are you? I'm doing good. How can you check the MDC processing timeframe? So the National Visa Center does have a website. If you're part of my newsletter, I have a link to it every month I send. I don't know what it was called, but if you're part of the newsletter, it's there. But essentially, you go to the Department of State website, National Visa Center, and they have estimated timeframes. But timeframes don't mean anything at the end of the day. They'll do whatever they want if they take longer. So these are big averages of information that aren't necessarily helpful. reality is you just got to wait, and that's the only real answer I can give you, unless you want to file a lawsuit. You assume that somewhat speeds things up. Next question, Arif asks, how long does it take to get an interview after adjustment of status while for spouse? I don't know. It depends on your local field office. Ganya asks, Ganya, what is the percentage of success removal conditions for a 2-year green card in case of separation with husband waiting for a divorce? So I don't think in immigration it's wise to look at percentage of success because every case is different. What you have to analyze is your case and see what's going on there. So, you might have 2 people, one of them have really good evidence of relationship and one have none. One's going to have a higher chance of success, one's going to have lower chance of success. You can't compare as apples and oranges, in my opinion. You really have to see what's going on in your case and take it from there. So I just don't like answering these kind of questions because the answer I give is going to be kind of nonsense-ish. I don't want to give nonsense answers. Like it really is, depends on the case and what they're doing and what's going on there with the officer. Vito asks, thanks, John. I've been waiting for my EAD 4.5 months now. I-130 approved. File I-485, I-65. Is this normal? Yeah, as I mentioned earlier in the show, the EADs were coming out fast, like a month or two. It went back to 6, 7, 8 months. Unfortunately, it's taking forever again. And that's the situation we're dealing with right now. Mapio asks, hi, what to do if there's no answer for the I-751 and 400 after 5 months of combo interview? You can try writing a letter to the officer that interviewed you, writing then a letter to the district officer, getting your congressional representative involved, maybe an ombudsman involved, maybe filing a lawsuit. There's different things you can do, but first I would talk to the lawyer to review your case to see if there was something bad or something you got to be worried about that happened in your case before you pull the trigger on dealing with those lawsuits. But that's what I would look into. Okay, next question. Simon follows up. He is currently in university pursuing his doctorate. Can he stop university when EAD roster approved by I-485? So if a person has a green card case pending I-485 adjustment of status, and beforehand they were students and had to maintain status, once you file the I-485, you no longer are required to maintain status. You can't violate it by working if you're married to a green card holder or something like that, but you could just stay at home and not pay for the university fees. That's okay. Now, if the green card case doesn't go through, you don't have the F1 to fall back on, and that's not good. But if you have a good case, which I haven't seen the case for myself in detail, it's not much of a worry. You kind of just drop out, and that's that. Now, the school may put in the CBIS, the immigration record system, and they might come and hassle you. It's very rare, but it's possible. But overall, there's no requirement to maintain status after filing adjustment of status. Laxmi asks, do we need to carry a green card of all time? Well, the regulations do say you're supposed to have your green card with you at all times for your lawful permanent resident, so I have to follow what the regulations say. In practice, is that something you want to do? If you lose it, it's a big headache getting a new one. So it's up to you if what you want to do. The regulations say you have to, and that's what I have to say here. BS, I filed for my parents, so can we answer this question already? Mahakachakazi or something. Are any updates on humanitarian parole? No updates I can give you. It's just the same old, same old. Vid, he asked, hi, U visa, bona fide, still taking 5 years just for bona fide termination. So U visa is if you've been a victim of a crime, of certain serious crimes. And once you file it, there's a big backlog on them for making a determination if it's bona fide and all this kind of stuff. I don't handle U visa, so I don't want to answer too much on this. My office, now we have new associates handling it, but I typically myself have submitted a U visa case in 10 years. So all I just got to say is, yeah, unfortunately, it's super backed up, and so that's the problem's happening. MacV asked, I did my interview in December for my I-130. I sent my passport in January. I'm still waiting. How long will it take to send back my stuff to leave to go to USA? There's no timeline how long it takes, and this is one of those cases where you may want to look at filing a lawsuit for the delays. That's something that people do. Ganya follows up, will I be deported if the removal of the green card condition is okay? If you have removal conditions from I-751 and it's denied, will you be deported? First, they'll send you to immigration court for a deportation hearing or a removal hearing. The removal is the term you now use. You have another chance there to challenge it, or even before you get a removal, you could refile the I-751 and try it again. Ganya, you really should talk with an immigration lawyer in private to see the strength of your case, to bolster it, be prepared. If it is denied, to refile one, or have someone go to court with you. It's not, you can still save the case, but you just got to talk to a lawyer and be prepared for it. It's a lot of work. God's Love asks, how long does it take to approve an IA-24? Between 3 to 15 months. 3 months to 15 months. B-Boy guys, is it true some cases are moving to local USCIS offices because of backlog? How would you know if that's the case? Well, in a case like yours, where you're dealing with, you don't really know where it is at. If you're filing for your parents, it probably is going to eventually go to local office. But a lot of people are trying to change to a local office how long this is. For the client, it really doesn't make a difference because you have no power over it. And just checking stuff online, it's not good for you, to be honest. Just let it go. But that's the best answer I give to that. They don't really give us good information on where the case is. I've had to recall it in. They say the case is one place, and I call back next week. They say it's another place. So there's just no consistency to it. Olivier asks, hey, I came in the 90s as a child on a B1, B2. I have an approved I-130 through my mother. Am I 245I qualified? I requested PD to reopen. How long will it take? I don't know if your I-245 qualified because I don't know when your I-130 is approved and if you have a residency requirement or presence requirement for I-245I or there's other issues. So, Olivia, you got to talk to the lawyer in private to review the I-130 receipt notice, review your birth certificate, review how the I-130 happened, your mom's status, FAA support. It's just a whole case. So I can't tell you about something regarding your case here. There's just too many variables, pieces of information I need to know before I can answer that question. But you may well be. It's worth looking into. Physicon asks, can I apply for my husband's citizenship and go back to Pakistan until he's not here or until he gets ready? So you're not applying for your husband's citizenship. You're applying for his green card or residency. Once he's a resident for so many years, then he can file for citizenship. I have two cases right now, several cases like this pending. So what happens is, if you're married and you're trying to apply for a green card for a spouse, there inevitably comes a time when the spouse overseas that you have to file an affidavit of support. And part of that affidavit of support is a thing called a domicile requirement that says you're living in the United States. The rule also says that either you're living in the United States or you're going to move into the United States at the time that the visa is issued together with that foreign spouse. Now, most embassies, in particular in South Asia, will not go and listen to the part that says you're going to move in with your spouse once they get the visa. But I have several cases right now in South Asia in particular where the spouse wants to live with them in Pakistan, India, so that they could be together until the case is done, because there's huge backlogs for cases in Pakistan, India. I hate to group you up. I know all the politics of it, but you deal with a lot of the same issues with regard to immigration. And my policy is, listen, you shouldn't be separate from your spouse, and your personal life is not good. So I say, okay, go back, be together. If you could, once the national visa center portion of your case happens, move back to the United States, or at the very latest, by the interview time, move back, or tell the embassy officer we're going to move together or have proof. So when the time comes, there'll be a time where they're going to look at your residency. You got to kind of work with them and push them and decide the law and try to push it so they'll move the case forward. But can you go back and stuff? It's a strategy and it's a game, and you got to be very cautious and be able to document it. It's a whole thing. And it's not as simple as that. It depends on the embassy officer. Inevitably, it could cause delays in your case. Inevitably, you will need to probably come back here most times and get a house here, bank account, work, or something like that. But until that time comes, you get kicked the can down the road, because this case is going to take forever for you to get to an interview. And until that happens, probably over a year or two, being separate is not good for relationships. So you can figure out what to do with it later in time. That's my personal policy, because my priority is for the couples to live together, enjoy their life while they have it, instead of waiting and doing stuff for immigration purposes and being separated and ruining your relationship. All right. J2 says, thanks for your welcome. Asylum, long name. Can you tell me which application, N400 or N600? I came underage, but I'm old now. There's not enough information for me to answer that question. It's just, there's no information there. Just naming two forms doesn't help me out. So talk with them, immigration in private. Goslove asks, can I file a new I-130 application if I-24 is pending? Yeah. Many times we submit the I-24 with the I-130, a new I-130, same time, because we don't know which one of these is going to get approved first. They're both seeing super amount of delays. So, if you want to pay the extra filing fee, usually I do it. Just make sure you do it properly. And one thing is, with COVID, there was a huge backup with regard to the agencies and how they're processing cases, especially at the embassy. And they gave priority to, family cases, marriage cases, number one. A lot of times, if you're filing an I-24, it's because you got your green card based on employment, and your spouse is going to wait for a green card once the I-24 is approved. But because it's considered an employment case, even though it's kind of a marriage case, they're in the back of the line. So it's probably better to have a separate I-130 pending. And that's that. Now I could go into the I-24, what that is. I have tons of videos out there So definitely check that out. I do want to announce our last winner of our raffle, Saima Rabbani. Your first question today and your last winner, but you got in. If you're still watching, take a screenshot, Saima. If you're still watching it, email it to me at info@jqklaw.com, and we'll schedule a private video consultation and talk about your case. Congratulations. That's it, everybody. We got one question on Instagram. Becky asks, can I be outside the U.S. for 6 months without any issues on LPR? It up to the officer when you come back in. Normally, it's not a problem. It will cause serious problems for citizenship, but for maintaining and keeping your green card, usually it's not an issue, but the officer can create issues for you. So I wouldn't recommend doing something like that. You probably should get a re-entry permit if you plan on doing something like that, but it's up to you what you want to do. I can't recommend it. As an LPR green card holder, being outside of 6 months could lead to increased scrutiny, and it will cause serious issues for your citizenship case, so be aware. Having said that, all, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back again next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time to take your questions live and talk about general educational stuff with U.S. immigration. I'm immigration attorney John Khosravi. If you want to schedule a private consultation, email me at info@jqklaw.com. Fees do apply. Depending on if you want to talk with me, one of my associates and stuff, we got different levels of fees. But hey, send an email, briefly describe what your situation is, and we'll take it from there. God bless, be safe, and talk to you all next week. Bye-bye.